time to serve the small business owner, some of our favorite people, and it's my favorite day of the week. It's Monday. This is the first day we get to wake up and liberate small business owners just like you from their chaos. So thanks for letting us be a part of your day and what you're doing, and to start out this week and to get you cranked up and fired up and ready to rock and roll. I'm in kind of a new studio office space that we've got working here at the Business on Purpose headquarters. We've got the old Jersey, a couple guitars on the wall. Somebody asked me earlier today, do you play guitar? I play like 15 chords. That's about it. And then, of course, we've got the map and some musical instruments, the world. We love the world. We love traveling, and so this is a great place for it. So, hey, our goal is to help liberate you from chaos, and that's what we're going to do. So each week, we're going to share your real life in the trench, real-time questions that you have right now. And so, by the way, if you've got small business questions right now, post them in this Facebook window. If you're listening to it live or the rebroadcast, feel free to post it, because these are the questions that we're going to start answering real time right here on the Facebook Live. So we can help you with the answers to these questions, but one thing we cannot help you with, and that is implementation. Implementation, that is all on you. So if you take some of the things that we talk about and then you have the courage to go implement, that's where the real game-changing stuff starts to happen. So let's talk about the question for today that we got from a real live small business owner just last week. So here's the question. Help. Actually, it started out with a statement. Help! With an exclamation point. I feel like I'm being pulled in 17 different directions. What is the first thing I need to restore in order to bring back chaos? What's the first thing I need to do in order to restore the chaos that we can do? So there are three things as we've broken this down. Number one, I want you to stop. I want you to take two fingers and put them here to your arm. Check and see if you still have a pulse. If you still have the pulse and you're reasonably healthy, you're okay. All right? So if you feel like you're being pulled in all sorts of different ways, but you still have a pulse, let's stop. Let's take a breath, and then we're going to walk through some of these other things. Now, one of the reasons you feel like you're being pulled in 17 different directions is probably because you are being pulled in 17 different directions. And usually that's a function of a lack of focus and clarity long term, but it's also a lack of systems and processes near term. But I want to be very careful that we don't just jump into process to solve the chaos, all right? Because when you feel like you're being pulled in 17 different directions, a lot of times it's because you're doing 17 or more different things. So stop just for a second. Be quiet. See if you've got a pulse, and then we can move into number two. So number one is stop and make sure you have a pulse. If we do, then you're good. The second thing, in order to help you restore order to the chaos that you feel, is you've got to have, now stay with me, you've got to have real definition of what the future of your business looks like. All right? Some people call that a vision. There may be futuristic thinking, whatever you want to call it, but you've got to have some semblance of a snapshot, and you've got to be able to share that snapshot with other people and what they look like, or what that looks like for them, because they've got to know whether they run towards the vision with you or whether they run away from the vision, away from you. So for instance, if you called me today and said, let's say Logan told me, hey, Scott, hop in the car. What's my first question to Logan? Where are we going? And so that makes total sense, right? So if Logan tells me that we're going to the Badlands of Arkansas, where we're going to sit by a trash can and eat tofu, that's not a compelling vision for me. I'm not going to be on board with that. So I'm going to run away from that vision. But if Logan came in and told me, hey, Scott, we're going to hop on a plane. We're going to Sicily, Italy. We're going to work with refugees from around the world who have come to this one place across the Mediterranean. You're going to get to hear their story. I'm in. I'm totally in. So the first thing is to stop and make sure you've got a pulse, because if you do, you're okay as a small business owner. We can fix it from there. The second thing, in order to restore that chaos, is you've got to have a detailed snapshot of what the future of your business looks like. Now, I know some of you think I'm crazy for that. Some of you think, no, Scott, you've got to start with process. Build this process and that process. Listen, you can start with all the processes in the world. I see Jeff Moss on here, flies really big helicopters. And guess what? If you just had a collection of processes, but didn't put them into a collective final vision of what it looks like down the road, you never have a helicopter. Okay? Very, very important that you've got to have not just a collection of processes, but you've got to have a clear, detailed, fleshed out what the future of your business looks like. If you don't have that, the chaos will continue. If you don't have a clear, defined vision of what your future looks like, you will constantly feel like you're pulled in 17 or 18 or 19 or 20 different directions, and it will never get better. All right? I'm just telling you that now. It is the truth. We've seen it over and over and over again. It will never get better. You got to stop and write down the detailed snapshot of what the future of your business looks like. Now, when you do it, I want you to think in two different arms here. Number one is I want you to think principle and not necessarily strategy. What in the world? Now, you might think, what's the difference, Scott, between principle and strategy? Principle are age old. They don't change. They have longevity. They have durability to them. Strategy is here today, gone tomorrow. Think about Bill Belichick, the head coach of the New England Patriots, whether you like him or not. Right now, he's game planning strategy. But he didn't go back 4 years ago and use a game plan from 4 years ago to get prepared for this weekend, because strategy does not have durability, it does not have longevity. It's good for right now. It's good, but it's good for right now. Principle has longevity. The fact that you can bank on gravity. Gravity is a principle. Now you can build strategy with inside the principle or the law of gravity. So as you're building out a detailed snapshot of your future, I want you to think through the lens of principle. What are things that are true months or years from now that are true today? Because I want to bank on that. I don't want to bank on strategy, because strategy will come and it will go. All right? Hey, by the way, if you're on this live, do you mind sharing this post? Because there are a lot of small business owners who really do feel like they're getting pulled in 17 different directions, and they need to understand the things that will help limit the chaos. So if you don't mind, if you're on the live broadcast right now, just hit the share button. And if you're listening to this rebroadcast down the road, man, it would be awesome if you shared this so that other small business and organizational leaders can understand this. All right? So thanks. Now the third thing, so the first thing I said, if you feel like you're getting pulled all over the place, is to check and see if you have a pulse. If you're still breathing, you're okay. Number two is you've got to lay out a detailed snapshot of what the future of your business, the future of your organization looks like. Guys, I'm not talking about that silly little paragraph that, hey, we want to be the best, this, that, and the other. I'm talking about detail, pages of what the future looks like. And the third thing is we've got to ask ourselves, what are those principal things that we can look at when we make decisions, to where we don't have to make decision on emotion, but we get to make decision on principle. So ask these two questions. Not only what do I want the future of my business to look like, but number two, what are the 3 or 4 non-negotiables that we take into account when we make decisions? All right, did you hear that question? What are the 3 or 4 non-negotiables that we need to take into account when we make decisions? And when you have those things in play, let me give you a real life story around that. So we had a guy who's a home builder, and they build anywhere between $800,000 to about $2.5 million homes, really expensive homes here in the United States. And so as they were building this out, they got a call from the developer. And the developer said, hey, we want to go into a joint venture with you, and we want you to build some of our homes. We're going to go 50-50. You bring 50, we bring 50% of the price of what they call the spec home or the speculation home. So it had not yet been sold. They were going to build it and hope to sell it and then make a profit on that, right? Well, the business owner has what they call a core value, and in that core value, they have a core value of no debt. And no debt is defined by 0 debt, like they cannot take on any debt. And so they do a lot of self-financing for a lot of things. Well, what they found out in the discussion with the developer is that they were going to have to bring 50%, so they understood that. But when they got to looking at their finances, they realized that 50% was going to be out of their league, and so they were going to have to take a loan. But here's the challenge. It was almost a slam dunk guarantee that if they built this house, that they were going to make a profit within 3 months of building this house. And so the business owner walks into the developer, he sits down, and he's got these things in his back pocket. He literally printed out and put in his back pocket. And they were his 5 core values. These are the non-negotiable, 5 non-negotiable things that he had. These 5 core values. And so what he did is he told the developer, he said, I want to build the home with you. As it depends on me, I'm a go. I'm ready to rock and roll. And then he stopped and he paused and he looked back at the developer and he said, but here's the challenge. My company values won't let me do it. And he told the developer this, and he even told the developer, I'm scared to death to tell you this because I'm afraid you're not going to call me back and for us to do ventures again together. And the developer said, do you really have those written down? And he said, well, yeah, they're right here. Pulled it out, slid it across the table, gave it to the developer. And the developer looked at him and he said, I'm going to tell you what, I've never seen anybody have these written down. I've heard people talk about them, but never written down. And number two, you don't ever have to worry about me not calling you again. If this is really how you run your business, you're the type of partner that we want to do more work with. And guess what? Within 12 months, they had more houses than they knew what to do with and did not have to put a penny down for them. That's what it looks like to have non-negotiables that you live by. That's what it looks like to understand a detailed snapshot of the future of your business. All right? So crucial that you begin to understand that, those 3 points. Hey, by the way, if you want more detail on this, we are actually going to be hosting a free master web class here in about 4 weeks. It's called 3 Keys You Must Install Today to Gain Margin as a Business Owner. So we're going to walk you through those 3 keys. The 3 keys you must install today to create margin, to gain that margin as a business owner. So we want to make sure that you've got that. It's a free web class, a free master class. If you want to sign up for it, we're going to put the link right here in the Facebook post, and you're free to sign up for that. Come. Here's the only thing we ask from you. Bring your notepad and bring an attitude of implementation, because nothing's more of a waste of time than for you to show up to something of value and not implement it. So make sure if you come that you do that. So let me summarize the 3 things real fast. In order to gain more margin, stop and make sure you've got a pulse. If you're breathing, you're okay. All right? The second thing, once you've got that, is you've got to have a detailed snapshot of the future of your business. What do you want this thing to look like? And finally, ask the question, what are the non-negotiables that I am not willing to part with in order to build this thing? Once you've got that, those are all principles, that's when you can start to build the process to help calm everything down. All right? Now, it takes time. You're not going to do this overnight. Once you've got those principles set and have drawn that out, then you just need to pick one process that you can begin to delegate to other people. And we'll talk about that in that webinar a little bit. So again, free masterclass here in about 4 weeks. 3 keys, 3 secrets that you must install today to gain margin as a business owner. Hey, thanks so much for making the investment to implement and to be on this Facebook Live so that you can live out your mission. 2 things. Number 1, again, hey, do you mind sharing this? This would be awesome. There are other small business owners who need to hear about these tips to the answer of that question. Help! I'm being pulled all over the place. So go ahead and share this. And the second thing is, make sure to sign up for that free web class. We'd be delighted to have you. I think it's going to be August 24th, here in about 3 or 4 weeks. I'll put the link right here in the Facebook, in the little scrolling thing. I see a couple of you already are wanting to attend that. So we'll make sure to put that on there. And I hope this is helpful. We're going to try and start doing this weekly. And so if you've got any small business questions, make sure to put them in the Facebook comments and we can answer those for you as well. Hey, thanks for being a part of our journey to help liberate you, the small business owner, from the chaos of working in your business. Live from our new little studio up here. We're fired up. It's Monday, favorite day of the week. You guys have a great week. Talk to you soon.